like I say, it's like my home right now, to be honest with you. And right now I feel more like, I tell my parents, I feel like settled there. Like right now that's my place to be.
Hey, everybody. This is the Sounds of Care podcast put on by the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Eastern Wisconsin. These are stories of our home away from home. And today is about families at the house. And we have two very, very special guests. Why don't we start here? Why don't you introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about how you became acquainted with the house?
Right, I'll start. So my name is Sean Tucker. I came acquainted with the house a little over 4 years ago now. Back in November, my wife and I started to stay while for our daughter to be born at Children's. She was born early due to some health concerns. We stayed for about 46 days, I believe, at the house, and then we're back for 2 other stays afterwards. So kind of got acquainted with really with what the house means and everything like that as a family that benefit directly from it. So that's our snippet of my story.
Thanks, Sean.
Okay, and I have a 101-day-old daughter now. Yesterday was 100. She turned 100 days. She has Treacher Collins, so she was born with like a critical airway, and she needed a trach, and she was born at 32 weeks premature. So she had to come to the hospital here because in where I'm from in Neenah, they couldn't. She was like a little too complicated there. She had to be here specifically for what she has, and then so yeah, she actually got sick for a little while, which is why we're here a little longer. During like Christmas is when she actually got pneumonia, and we weren't really sure she was gonna make it at the time. But now we're in an awesome spot, and we actually go home in 6 days.
That's fantastic news.
Yeah.
How many days again?
It's 101 today.
101
Yeah,
days.
101.
I
A
mean,
100 for me technically, because I had her in Nina, but
okay.
she was brought here the same day, and I had to stay over there because I had a C-section.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's an incredible amount of time.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
with that said, I mean, and Sean, I'll get back to you in a minute. But what does that mean to you for that long? I mean, to have some place to stay from a
Yeah.
cost perspective, from a place that feels like home. I mean, what did that mean to you, and what did that
Yeah.
mean, for your daughter?
Well, to me, it was awesome to even if people ask me where I'm going, I say, "Oh, I'm going home to Ronald's," and I'm like, they're like, "You're going home," and I was like, "No, home like Ronald's home," because I'm there every day. And the thing is that like. To me, it was at the beginning, my daughter actually had to be like paralyzed for a little while. So they put her on like a drip, and she wouldn't like open her eyes, or like she was just laying there practically, and she was very swollen at a point when she was sick. And I at least wanted to be there for her. I may not have been able to hold her or touch her, but I was able to touch her. That was the only thing I was able to do, touch her, read to her, stuff like that. But to me it was very important to be there every day for her, because I felt like I got at the beginning, I feel like I wasn't really her mom, like I didn't get to do regular mom things. I didn't get to be like the regular parent. Like I feel like my child was just kind of taken away from me right away due to what happened and everything. But to me, Ronald's was like the one place I could come and sleep and like relax, and like my getaway for a little bit at least. And I got to meet lots of other NICU moms there as well, which is awesome.
Well, we'll dive into that for
Yeah.
sure. I think the connection that you have with other parents. Sean, tell us a little bit about what brought you to the house. You told us a little bit about it, but if you
Yeah,
could
a little
expand on
bit.
that.
So about 28 weeks along in our pregnancy and the ultrasound, there was some just general concerns that the doctor in Green Bay, we're from Green Bay, Green Bay area brought up, and so they made an appointment for us to come down here. We have to have a fetal MRI, and did that, and went back and met at the Fetal Concern Center at Children's. Shout out to that team; they're amazing. Um, and we were told then that there was neurological issues. Basically, too much fluid around the brain at that time, causing a condition called polymicrogyria, which is too many folds in the brain in Latin. I'm smart, so I know that now. And so there would be, a range of possible issues that could happen. Your child could be somewhat normal. Your child can be vegetative. Your child can be, you may have looked at end of life plans. All these things were shot at us in a matter of 30 seconds. So quite scary. But then the one thing that they assured us back then, so this was at the end of 2019, was that Ronald McDonald House would be there for us. They'd be able to get us in. We'd have a place to stay the night before we were scheduled to deliver, things of that nature. So yeah, so that's how we came down. We got in at like 7 o'clock at night. For anyone that doesn't know, Ronald McDonald House is a dinner every night. We got there right after the dinner, and it happened to be Fazoli's catered.
What
So,
is that? Just for those who don't know.
for those that don't know, Fazoli's like this. Sorry to say, but less of a cost Italian drive-through fast food. So they had, but they have like the most amazing breadsticks that you would ever find for anyone that doesn't really care about their health and enjoys butter. So me being the guy that I am, and my wife being 32 weeks pregnant, she was like, "Hey, let's try this." So they gave us like an entire like to go big basket of breadsticks, and then like what was ever was left of pasta. So we're like they're anxious as all can be about what the future holds and stuff like that. Just into this house. Easily went through all those breadsticks, easily went through the food. And then, yeah, so then the next day we woke up 5 a.m. before anyone else, went over to the hospital. A day later, after things happened, my daughter was born. And we did not know how long the stay was going to be. We were told we'd be there for at least 2 months, likely. So, being the beginning of November, we thought Christmas, New Year's, everything like that would be away. We had a 2-year-old back at home. So I was probably getting way too far into this question, but I was driving every week back home to Green Bay for 4 days or 3 to 4 days, coming back just so I could spend some time with our son. My wife was staying down here the whole time. We're at Ronald the whole time, but it was amazing. And then afterwards, my daughter did have a surgery. So this was before COVID, the pandemic started. So we were able to stay easily then at Ronald McDonald House, and then we had one more stay for a unexpected week-long stay right after some of the COVID regulations lightened up a little bit. That I was able to get in. So Ronald has really paid off for us a ton, and we enjoy giving back, which I'm sure we'll get into later on too. But for my daughter's first birthday, we did a big, a car parade because of COVID, and we asked for donations for toiletries because at that time, the biggest need was anything and everything toiletry related. You couldn't share anything at all. So our family came through and friends. I think we brought down an entire van load of toiletries, toys, things of all that nature to be donated. So it feels really good to give back, but it's feels good to be part of that family. I'm sure Edna can relate.
I mean, it's incredible. The Ronald McDonald House. I mean, a lot of things closed during COVID. The Ronald McDonald House, they stayed open.
Yes.
And I think that is an incredible testament to one, the families, two, the volunteers, the staff. And to get back to what you were saying earlier, I'm really glad you went in depth on that story because I always think of logistics, right? And I think such a big part of this, you're going through something with your child, logistics, the fact that the house is there for you. From that perspective, Edna, I mean, how did the house help?
Oh, well, at the beginning, well, I just had my C-section, as you know, so we weren't ready to have her at 32 weeks. Like, I knew she was going to be born early, but I never thought that early. So my husband and I were not prepared. But well, besides her room, but funny thing, the night before, we actually had everything ready, and then I gave birth to her the next day. But so like when it came to what we had to eat, like that was the last thing I even wanted to think about. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to worry about what am I gonna eat? How am I gonna afford it? Like how am I gonna get go back and forth between home and the hospital? Like where am I gonna stay? And at that time, to be honest with you, I never really even like knew about Ronald's. Like I just didn't even know about this whole other world of things that could happen to you. So Ronald's gave me my home right now, and I'm happy there, you know what I mean? I'm meeting beautiful people. Gives me a place to go and eat, to put my stuff. If I want to cook, I can cook there. If I want to keep my juice, I can keep it there, you know? And then not only that, also like I said, I wasn't prepared, so I didn't have like pumps or anything cuz I had to give the baby breast milk. So they have a lactation room there as well at Ronald's. Oh my gosh, that was a lifesaver for me because I had somewhere to go. So it's just amazing. Like I say, it's like my home right now, to be honest with you. And right now, I feel more like I tell my parents, I feel like settled there. Like right now, that's my place to be. Like when I go home, I'm like, I don't know where anything is. Like I don't, because I had to move in with my parents as well, because with all the baby stuff. But I was just like, I don't know where anything is here. But at Ronald's, I know where everything is. Like I have my shampoos, my showers, my clothes. Like I have so much space, and it's nice because even in the long term room, like you have your little living room, you know, like you don't have to sit in your room, like in your bed the entire time. Like you can go on the couch and hang out. Or if my family wanted to come and visit me, which they did, they would come to Ronald's as well. And especially during Christmas time, that's when my daughter was really sick. um, this was like a beautiful memory that I have, that even though my husband and I were sad with everything that's happening, you know how you can pick out like an ornament off the tree and then they give your child the present. So when we got there late at night, because we had gotten back, it was like the 24th, but going into the 25th, we got back and all the presents were sitting at the door for her. And it just gave us a little hope that, we're going to be able to take our baby home. So that was really beautiful. A memory that will always stick with me for sure.
Anything to add to that, Sean?
No, well, yes, but no, that it's really home well for me as well. Um, we were released from the hospital 3 days before Christmas. We had left for our son's second birthday party, so we left for one night. And the day of the party, we got a call from the nurse that our daughter was going through her car seat testing and stuff like that, and we were going to go home. And it was a shock, you know. But they still left us, with Christmas gifts, things like that to bring home. Um, there's always something to do there. Like Edna said, like for those of you that don't know, there's a game room in the basement, like basically arcades. There's a workout room. There's equipment like that. There's laundry, um, whether it's in the long term wing or the old what they call the old house. There's kitchenettes where you can cook your own food. There's dining areas. There's TVs everywhere. There's piano to play for the kids. There's games. There's movie rooms, anything and everything that you can imagine in a awesome house. Ronald has it, and then some. So it's literally it's a home away from home for so many families, and became that way for us.
So, with regard to other families that are staying there, I mean, how does it make you feel to be able to? And I'm sure you talked to other families that were staying there with you. How did that feel to be able to talk to either the volunteers or other families, and just kind of either one talk about something else, or two talk about what you're going through?
In my experience, that helped. So my wife and I are very much opposites. I'm very extroverted, very out there. I'll talk to anyone. She was kind of like, I just want to keep this to myself. But still being out there, whether it be for coffee in the morning and striking up a conversation of someone just coming up and saying, hey, is this your coffee or is this community coffee? A question like that can lead to an hour-long conversation. I had the experience myself personally that I was kind of in the special needs world before being a special needs parent. And I knew about Ronald McDonald House through an organization I volunteered with. Shout out to my team, Triumph, Wisconsin. And had heard a lot about it. So I kind of knew. And actually, in my first week there was 3 different families that recognized me. So it was just striking up a conversation with them of not always of, hey, why are you here? But what do you do? Where are you from? Um, you know, Walking through the parking ramp is the best thing ever. If you have never done it before, I suggest it because you get to know like where all these families come from. I mean, you got East Coast families, you got Midwest, Wisconsin, Illinois, Minnesota, Iowa, everywhere that come to Ronald and Children's for some reason or another. But the best part about it is, uh, you said the volunteers or other residents as well. They always will converse about anything and everything. So it's a good break from the beeps and everything like that going on at the hospital.
Lots of beeps.
I mean, yeah. Well, Edna, I mean, you've been there a long time. I mean, you must see families come and go. I mean, that's pretty
I
incredible.
do, I do. Like I say, it's a beautiful experience though to get to meet all these families. I've personally met a lot of NICU moms who are going through what I'm going through, and talking to them is amazing because yes, you can tell somebody your story, but they don't feel exactly what you're feeling, you know? And especially when you like enter the NICU and you see your baby there and the first 2 weeks, you know, with all the hormones, like it's such a dark experience itself. Like I literally felt like I was dreaming, but I got to connect with a lot of moms in the NICU, and actually there's like a little March of Dimes area upstairs, and that's where I met moms that were staying at Ronald's. So then I would see them at Ronald's, and then we would get to talking, and we'd talk about like what our babies are going through, and like kind of support each other, you know, and like give each other advice on what can you do, like even take time for yourself, you know, like as a parent your kid needs you to be okay as well. So don't be afraid to go and sleep, you know. Don't be afraid to take a long shower, you know. So, oh, everybody there, the families that I've met, like, they definitely hold a special place in my heart. And funny thing is, a mom that I actually met that's in the NICU, she's kind of from where I'm from. She's in the Appleton area. And I'm hoping I can get her as a nurse for my daughter.
What is your favorite thing while you're staying there? Like the one thing. What is your favorite thing about staying at the house? Sean, let's start with you.
I would say for me, I'm a food guy, so I like the community dinner or the group dinner, community dinner style, put on by volunteers, not staff, not anything like that. So it's not your school cafeteria food at all. I actually still try to cook some of the things at home that we had there because that's how it is. So I'd say that. The other thing too is just the feeling of a getaway. It's truly getting away, just being by yourself, not having to worry about anything. I'd say those are that's my question for what's the one thing. I'll give you two.
Yeah. All right. And was there a favorite area in the house that you just kind of like go to?
Um, I was I liked to be social, so I was big in the morning or in the evening on kind of just out in the kind of kitchenette dining area, um, talking with other families or just being able to watch something on a little bit bigger TV, something like that. So I'd say that was my favorite area.
Nice. How about you, Edna?
Mine is probably the therapy dogs. I love the therapy dogs, and my room's like right next to there. So, coming in and out of the room, I get to see the dogs, you know? So, that's my favorite thing. Also, like the pottery painting. I think that's very relaxing.
The art room is
Yes,
great.
the art room is great.
And the programming with it. I mean,
Mhm.
I was there once and there was a chemist, and
Oh,
all the kids were like, "Oh
wow.
my gosh, there's like, dry
Cool.
ice and
Yeah.
stuff." And the looks on their faces, they're so amped up about it. It was so cool.
How
That's
could you
great.
not be excited? Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're
there
familiar
is
with
nice.
McNugget
Oh
then?
yes,
McNugget, the therapy dog. That's like a.
I haven't met that dog.
You haven't met
The
McNugget?
one that I have met is Panda. I love Panda.
Panda.
Yeah.
Tell us about Panda.
Panda,
yeah.
she's like a little tiny dog. And then she kind of like stands up. She looks like a little poof ball. So cute. I told my mom the other time, I was like, Mom,
I never
come
heard about Panda.
look. Panda's so cute.
I only know well, I mainly know McNugget.
I've been wanting to meet Petunia.
We have a little stuffed McNugget at home.
Do you really?
Oh yes, that was our first room gift.
Okay.
So those of you that don't know, there's a bag of like toiletries and things like that, and then it's always like some sort of a stuffed animal or something. So yes, our house got a McNugget and a piggy bank in our stays. So McNugget is quite a fan at home. Our dog loved them so much that he has to go to surgery pretty soon. But yes, McNugget is very loved at our house.
Oh, wow. Well,
Side
there,
note,
there you have it,
sidetracking. Sorry here.
folks. I mean, the programming around the house, though, it's very extensive, right?
Yes.
I mean, pretty incredible stuff. I mean, I would say if you were a kid, and I've asked this before on the other shows, what would you do in the house? What would be your go-to?
Definitely the art room.
So that's still are okay, fantastic.
Yes,
Definitely the
I
our
art
agree.
room
room.
was pretty awesome to check out when we were there as well. Um, we participated in, I believe, 2 of the family movie nights. You know, the movie and the fresh popcorn and things of that nature. So other snacks. That was really cool too. To have that room and that see the all the kids, no matter what, just come together and just hang out and enjoy some time.
So if there's one memory that really just opened your eyes about the house, while you were there, something that you'll never forget. So like when you first think of the house, like this is the one memory that really comes back, and there might be more than one. But what's the one that really, I guess, sticks out in your head?
For me, it's definitely when I got there. Um, my dad and my husband had already checked in, but I got there and they were pushing me in a wheelchair. My mom was, and when we got in the room, there was like a little bag of gifts for my daughter, like a little toy, and then we also got like a little Christmas outfit for her. So that was one of the beautiful moments because that was like it was something that made me happy at the time since I was in such like a sad place, you know.
It just got your mind off of things.
It did get my mind off of things. Yeah. And I was like, you know, when I take my baby home, I'll take her with all this stuff, you know, and I'll always remember this place too.
Excellent, John.
I think there's not. Yeah, there's a lot. I think, like Edwin was saying, for me, it's more of how giving it is. So like that, like the newborn bag we got as well. You know, just filled with whatever you can imagine. Um, but I think one of the most memorable times for me then is actually when we left, seeing the magic room for the first time. Um, Magic Room is incredible for whether it be for a parent, for a kid. You get to experience it soon. So the Magic Room is, you know, basically the toy room of toy rooms. If you really, you know, it's the broom closet, just fill the toys. So seeing that and knowing that all those weren't purchased but donated out of the goodwill of community members and businesses and such was pretty awe striking for me. Is the way to say it. So I think that was kind of the it was towards the end of our stay, but that's for me the one thing that sticks out the most.
Yeah, seeing the face of a child looking at the magic room for the first time
Yep,
is something you'll never
it
forget.
is.
I mean, they're in heaven. It's amazing.
Or my wife that just
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
understand what's going on in this room, and like we got to pick out one thing for our kid. Like what? You know?
I
Yes.
got to go in the magic room
Oh,
already.
you did.
I did.
Lucky
And when
you.
my husband and I entered it, we were like, do we get a toy for her or for us? We don't know, but we got one for her, obviously.
Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, I really want to just go into the magic room and take something, but I can't. So I was turned away by staff last time. But anyways,
At least you tried.
I tried. You know, Melissa's tough to get around. She won't let me in.
The
So
5 o'clock shadow. It's just like
yeah.
everything else when it screamed kid, but the 5 o'clock shadow. I was like, no, you gotta get out of here. So
So, you know, there's a lot of families out there. You know, they might go through. I hopefully not when what you two went through. I think you're both incredibly strong people. What would you say to families that might go through something like this? Um, you know, how does that, what is how can you describe the house, and why is it so important for somebody that went through something like you guys did?
I was actually thinking something like this on the way on the drive down here today from Green Bay of you know what it means. Um, and for me, the biggest thing is it's not something to be not proud of. It makes you feel proud to be a special needs or a whatever the term you want to place that as a parent. It's not a shameful thing. You have people that are like, oh, your kid's in the NICU, your kid's receiving specialized medical care. Hey, you're one of us. Come on in. Not a, ooh, you know, you're going to go through a lot in your life. You know, it's it's that community feel of acceptance for a lot of people that don't always feel that way. I think that was the biggest thing for me and that's the biggest reason for me why, I give back so much and I try to do so much for it is it helps you become um, proud to be a parent of a special kid rather than scared, not knowing what the next day is going to be like, feeling alone, things of that. It erases all that. the house really does a great job with that. That's, I think, one of the biggest things for me that I like to spread the message.
What do you think, Edna?
I definitely learned to be giving because you never know when you're gonna need something. You never know when you're gonna stumble and fall, And definitely was the place that helped pick us up. Like he said, I was afraid as well at the beginning when I learned about my baby and everything that she needed her trach and stuff. So this was a place that I actually at Ronald's. It was really nice because you need like special cares for your kid when they have a trach as well, and you have to go through training. So Ronald's made it so much easier for me to go back and forth with her trach cares and her training, and it, like I said, you just be giving because you never know when you're gonna need something.
Well, that's a good segue. You talk about giving,
Yeah.
right? And Sean, we were talking before we were on the show
Yep.
about giving back to the house, and you're talking about how your company will match donations, right?
Yeah, so there's certain companies out there of all different types and sizes that do company matching, and a lot of them do it for local organizations, nationwide organizations, whatever it is. So yes, so the organization I've worked at now for 12 years has done it for quite some time. I didn't really know the full effect of it until not long before we started our journey at Ronald. And yeah, so able to each paycheck give a little bit, and the company matches that, and that goes directly towards Ronald McDonald House of Eastern Wisconsin to kind of help um, myself give back. But then, because I was a previous resident and what we call affected family members, but it's also a way to give back for those that are outside of that, are maybe family of someone that stayed, or just a supporter, or anyone. Because it's a organization that always needs something, and it's a lot of volunteers there, but they are always in need of that. So it's a great way to give back.
So I want to wrap up with just one last question. Why should people give to the house, whether that's through a donation, whether that's through volunteering? To you who has been through it, been there, stayed there, experienced it, why should people in the community give?
I think because like I said, there's a lot of families there that don't expect to go through what they're going through. And the last thing you want to think about is what you're eating, how where you're going to sleep, how you're going to afford anything, like your main focus at the time is your kid, your child. And when you have a kid, that really is your entire world, you want to do whatever you can for them, and not having to stress about all those things is a huge help.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it's a lot of the message of inclusion um, is what I see of, it's a big thing in the world right now is inclusion. And a lot of companies going towards it, things of that nature. So there's always a way to give. That's the best part about this organization, I think, for me is the best, whether it be, a toy, brand new toy that can be given. That goes a long ways. Maybe cash of any sort. That goes a long ways. People don't always know the little tabs from the top of your, what we call in the north, pop cans, soda cans, any other type of aluminum can. Those things go a long way. And when you know someone that's gone through it, or you hear their story, it resonates. I have family in Texas that collects pop tabs at gatherings, and once a year brings them up. We donate them here. So there's a lot of different ways to give, and it goes such a long ways to just spread that gift of community feel, inclusion, and all that's for so many families across the nation.
Well, I really want to thank both of you for being here today, telling us your story. Um, Both of you are incredibly strong people. Both of your children, incredibly strong people. Thank you so much. So yeah, take care.
Thanks for
And
having us.
thanks for tuning in. We'll have more episodes coming up soon. So I'm here with Lori Bertrand, President and CEO of Ronald McDonald House Charities of Eastern Wisconsin. And today's podcast episode was about the families. And from what I hear, you guys just broke a record.
We sure did, and it was a huge milestone for us. So this is the first time since pre-COVID, since 2019, that we have had the highest census, which means the most families served in one night, and that was 74. Previously, we only had 70 rooms, and we've expanded. So how amazing is it to say yes to that 71st, 72nd, 73rd? I mean, those would have been families on a wait list before.
That's incredible.
Mhm.
And, you know, we're looking at 40 years of RMHC, right?
40 years.
What I find crazy is that the Pabst Mansion was actually considered, had 7 rooms.
7 rooms, and we're at 84.
That's incredible.
It
That's
is.
incredible. And just to give you some context, the Pabst Mansion was originally considered when Children's Hospital was downtown.
Correct.
Obviously, you know, that moved, and now we have this incredible location on the hill today.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, the families make the house, correct? I mean, obviously the volunteers too, but
They most certainly do. I mean, they are why our mission exists. We have our house so families have a place to stay when they need care that's far from home. And so having that house available for our families at no cost to them. Of course, we ask every family when they leave our facility, would you be interested in helping support a future family? But they are not required to do that. So they get to stay with us for as long as they need and have our house be a home.
that's fantastic. Well, thank you, Lori. Appreciate your time today. And thank you for tuning in. This is the Sounds of Care podcast put on by the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Eastern Wisconsin. And if you haven't already, make sure to comment below, subscribe to the podcast, and to keep up on current events, what's going on in the house, make sure to visit the website, follow RMHC on social media. And again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.